Hi guys, welcome back to Style with Substance and welcome to another video on the law of attraction. And in today's video I'm talking about how I manifested my dream car, which is, as you can tell from the title, a Range Rover, the Evoque model. If you want to hear how I attracted, visualized and manifested this car into my ownership, then please keep watching. It's a long story that kind of dates back to, I don't know, when I was in my early teens. I, as many of us, kind of always followed luxury lifestyle and have always kind of very much been a follower of celebrities and what they're doing, some of the things they own, etc, etc, etc. But I always knew that if I were to become successful in life and really have made it, that there were certain things that I would have wanted to check off. Some of my really totally separate to this really big dreams include becoming a writer, owning my own business, working for myself, being financially free. But I've always had some more materialistic goals, as we all do. And in terms of my dream car, that has from day one always been a Range Rover. Now, I always kind of had that in mind, but I don't know. I don't think I ever really thought that it would come to pass until a lot later in my life. So I had it in mind and I was like, that is the pinnacle of car for me, and I just left it at that. Now, fast forward to about a year or a year and a half ago, I was watching a YouTube video and one of the YouTubers who I'm subscribed to posted a what's in my car tour video, and the car that she had just purchased was a Range Rover Evoque. Now, I'd seen bits and bobs about the Evoque in the news, and I think a couple of the houses that I walk past in the morning on the way to work had the same car. And I hadn't really paid much attention to it until this video where I saw a really in-depth look inside, outside the car. And I was like, wow. First of all, because I heard the car was designed by Victoria Beckham and I happen to admire her now sense of style post Spice Girls. And well, I heard that she was like a design consultant when it came to the car. So I was like, okay, could really get down with that. And then the other thing was that as much as I've always really wanted a Range Rover, I've only ever driven small cars. So my first car was a Mini Cooper and my second car was a BMW 1 Series, so the small 5-door car. And I've never really been used to driving really big cars, so I always thought, oh gosh, if I do eventually come to drive a Range Rover, I know it's going to take some getting used to. So what I loved when I first saw the Evoque was the fact that it was actually quite small. Well, smaller than a sort of full-size Range Rover, but also quite sleek. And I was just intrigued by it. And I think from that point on, I was hooked. I was like, I need to get that car. At this point in time, I was working in my job. I think this was like my third marketing job. And, we had I had just bought our first house with Mr. Man, and we were just kind of settling into that life, not having loads and loads of money left over at the end of the month to even afford such a nice car like that. And I was like, okay, don't know how I'm going to get this to happen, but I'm going to put it on my mental vision board and just see what happens. So I remember posting a picture of it on Instagram ages ago, and just like gushing over it essentially. And then I deleted the post a little while later. I remember basically re-watching that YouTube video over and over again, watching loads of car review videos and just really starting to learn more about the car itself. I didn't go for a test drive, but I did go to a Land Rover dealership and I sat in it, and it was an amazing experience. Like, the seats felt so soft, the steering wheel just felt so luxurious, the whole dashboard area was just... It was a really good experience to just immerse myself in the feeling of what it felt like to be in it. And at the time, I remember I was listening to the Secret audiobook, so every day I was driving my car, I would still be really appreciative of the car I had, because it was a really nice car in terms of a second car. But and at the time it was the BMW 1 Series I was driving, and I would imagine being slightly higher up in the Range Rover Evoque, kind of you know, whipping down the motorway. Then I remember I used to go onto the Land Rover website on a couple of occasions and look at what a hire purchase would cost, so I knew how much my monthly outgoings would be if I were paying for this car. So I knew what it would cost to own one. I would go onto insurance websites and also then go onto Auto Trader, find a car that was on there, put in the number plate and see how much it would cost to insure the car. So I had a very good idea of what the running costs were, what it was like to sit in one, what they looked like, what they sold for, where I could get one. I was all there, I had all the information. Then life happened, as it does. I moved jobs and was settling into working there, and then an email came through, and it was an email about the company benefit scheme, and there was a scheme called CarFlex, and I was like, oh, interesting. So went onto the CarFlex site to find out more about it, and they kind of work with a number of different dealerships, and ultimately, depending on your grade, you're able to, you know, get through the work car scheme access to a bunch of different vehicles. So there were loads in there, and at the time I was thinking, oh, maybe I should upgrade to something like an Audi or more of a saloon car, but maybe a bit longer. So I was scrolling through, and I was like, let me just check, because not all the cars they would necessarily have are like brand new models. So I was like, let me give it a go. So I scrolled down to Land Rover, and then scrolled across to see all the different models they had, and lo and behold, the Evoque was sat there, and I was like, oh my gosh. So you can like pop it in your, not your basket, but pop it in your short list and just kind of configure it essentially. So I configured it, and it would tell you like what your like how much the monthly running costs would be, etc. And it was a lot of money, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford this. So I just kind of left it in there. Every now and again we'll go back in, reconfigure it, play with different options. I really wanted like the white model, but with the black contrast roof, so it was like black on white, because that was the one that I'd seen in that YouTube video initially. And then I kind of left it at that and said, I'm going to work really hard this year, and I'm going to save up loads of money. I'm also going to get rid of my current car. At the time, we had got to a point where the car was just having quite a few issues, and I was like, I think it's time to retire it now. So got rid of the car, and as a result of doing that, I was able to save up loads and loads of money, and then I was like, right, I'm ready to take the plunge. Consequently, what happened before I took the plunge was I got a promotion at work, so my salary went up a little bit, and I was like, okay, I can now warrant the extra outgoing cost. So back in November time, end of November, early December, I just went ahead and ordered the car, and they said it can be ready like mid-January time, and it was a really exciting time, and not just because I'd ordered it, it was my dream car, but more because of the fact that from a year and a half before, up until that point, I had had that car in my mind constantly, been seeing it on the road loads as well. And when you start visualizing something, or you really want to bring it into your life and manifest it, you start to see more of it. And to me, that is always an indication that you're getting closer and closer to your goal. So it was really exciting. I would see loads of it on the road, I'd get really excited, but right up until that point when I ordered it, I just felt so accomplished and, you know, really happy because I'd brought it to pass just through really focusing my mind on it and really make-believing as if it was mine. So that's kind of everything I did to manifest it up until now. I have it, I've been driving it for about 2 weeks, absolutely love it. It's taken a little bit to get used to because it's a lot more powerful than my last car, so definitely have to be a bit lighter on the pedals. I feel like it's weird because when you check off something that you've been manifesting for a while, you almost feel a bit like, okay, I've had it now, like where do I go from here? Which is the great thing about manifesting material things, because what it helps you realise is that those aren't the really important things in life. Like, don't get me wrong, I couldn't be happier that I have this car, but it does eventually, I know it will just become a car, a very nice car, but I think it's more the achievement of having accomplished something that I set my mind to that is what really brings me the joy, rather than the physical car itself. beautiful as it is. I've even named it. The car's name is Ray. And if you guys want, in a comment down below to let me know, I will do a car tour like I did with my last car, and just kind of take you guys around it. If it's a car that you're looking to purchase or that you'd like to own at some point, I think it would be a really good exercise in visualization and, I don't know, getting the experience if I showed you around it, if that's something that you're interested in. So, you know, I'm completely grateful. I am so thankful, but I also worked really hard to be able to achieve that. And I think that that's the most important thing. You know, you've got to be grateful for the car that you have at the time. You've got to visualize and really believe and get yourself into the mind frame that this will be your car or is your car. And eventually you'll start to see things working in your favour to help you achieve that. So yes, that is a video on the law of attraction and how I manifested my dream car, Range Rover Evoque. If you want to see a car tour, comment down below. But otherwise, stay tuned for my next video. I post 3 times a week on a Tuesday, Thursday and a Sunday. So please do subscribe. I'm sure there'll be something that you enjoy. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye.